Shame. Shame.
This will never not mean this for me. Game of Thrones ruined it. From is a science fiction horror TV series that's set in this very remote small town with only like a few people. And I remember I watched the trailer for this a long time ago, but I forgot that I watched the trailer. And what it puts me in mind of is about two creepypastas that I've read melded into one. It is honestly best to go into this not having watched the trailer. And I'm going to start off first, spoiler free, by telling you it's interesting. If you like sci-fi horror, this is it for you. If you want to know what it's like, which is kind of spoilery, kind of aliens, kind of vampires, skinwalkers, I don't know. I really, at this moment, don't know. But that's what it puts me in mind of. They are stuck in this town where there are situations happening here, and they refuse to leave. Why? We shall soon find out.
Now, my girl, you're so young.
And it's freaking, I don't even know, Michael, I think his name is Michael. I remember him from Lost because he was always screaming to his son, Walt, Walt. He is such a great father. I mean, let's be honest. I'm so glad that they cast him. He was a perfect role. He carries this show on his dick. Like, it is so ridiculous right now. I mean, far as I can see, if he wasn't in it, it would still be okay, but he keeps you coming back. Like, he is the perfect sauce for lasagna that you put in and forgot to put anything on, and then you're like, damn, I literally just baked noodles without any seasoning or anything, but I got the magic sauce, and then when you put that on the lasagna, it just saves everything. He's basically the sauce.
Raw sauce. Boom.
This guy is the sheriff. We're just gonna call him Sheriff Michael, because I know him as Michael. I love his walk, though. He walks like a freaking stag.
I'll teach the boy. Come, my son. I'll show you the ways of the herd.
Very far cry away from who he was in Lost. But anyway, we meet a few of the characters, and honestly, that's why I said this guy kind of carries the show. Maybe they kind of settle down into their lines and their characters later, but early on, they're just not that interesting. We have the girl who is an EMT, the nurse girl, or the person who everyone calls when someone's broken a leg, the deputy here, and his father who seems to be suffering from dementia. He obviously likes her, but is too scared to say anything.
Get him quick, okay? Right, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Freaking awkward as hell. And he's cute too. I don't know what the problem is. Whatever. We also have our favorite star and mascot of the show, Car, halfway falling into the pool, but never quite reaching there. It just went for a sip of water and then never came back out. They show that vehicle so many times, it's kind of like part of the establishing shot, but it makes me think that it has lines later it's gonna say. When the sheriff goes to the post office, there's a sign saying Nights Without Incident 96, and you're wondering what incident. Back in the bar area, there's a guy trying to wake up a drunk on the floor, telling him to go home to his wife. He refuses to. And you see these weird rune-covered stones everywhere you go that people put up in their houses, as though trying to protect their abodes from something outside, like evil spirits. The drunk guy's wife and kid are waiting for him at home. The wife seems to already know that this is the thing that he does, and she's upset. As night settles in over this town, this is how small this town is, the little girl is saying the prayer that my dad made me say every night before bed.
I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake,
I pray the Lord my soul to take. Who else knows that? Everybody knows that. And then my partner was like, that's from Freddy Krueger. I'm like, well, where'd they get it from? The Bible. Then it's from the Bible, isn't it? Everyone is seen closing the windows and the shades. And then we hear this little girl talking to someone, telling her to come to the window, which she replies that she's not supposed to come to the window. She goes to it anyway like an idiot and sees an old person there that she thought was her grandma. And then she even says,
You don't look like my grandma.
She's not your grandma.
Okay, so I don't know if these things... This is straight out from the creepypasta. See, when you listen to the creepypasta, it makes sense because they go into detail about it, and I understand they can't really do that here when you're seeing the mental battle that person's having, trying to understand what was going on. But she just said, like, the transition was so weird. She just said, you don't look like my grandma, inferring the girl is still thinking logically. And then in the next moment, she opens the freaking window.
Oh, lonely.
Baby, please just...
Maybe I can come in?
What the hell is wrong with you?
So little bitch Muffet opens the window and causes the death of her and her mother. I would love a little bit more of just And not just this transient, hey, let's open the window, even after you've acknowledged that that's not your grandmother and you shouldn't be opening the window, to what caused her to open the window? Was it a lilting voice? The minute I opened the window, or at least removed the drapes and saw that it was not my grandmother, and even voiced the fact, I would have been like, shit, this is a trick, let me close the window. So then we know, this is a show that also offs little kids, and I am completely okay with that, because you know, if they can jump the rope and actually have little children die, you know it's dangerous. So we are shown these people, a family of a big sister, her little brother, Ethan, and a father that looks like he's an amalgamation of Bill Murray and Paul Rudd.
Claws went too deep. Tell my friends.
The father's okay, but the mother, her acting, ugh. One thing I really hate about the family, though, is that the big sister can be an annoying person, but she basically killed off one of his toys, saying, yeah, he's dead now. And the little boy, he believes it, and he's like, no, I want you to bring him back. And she's like, death is just a part of things. You have to get used to it. And there have been some cases, and I had lots of toys. I was an only child for 11 years. I had lots of toys growing up, and there were times when I'm doing an adventure, and one of my toys would die. Nothing happens to it. It just dies in one of my stories. And me and my best friend, Andre, would go out and bury them. I'd be like, Andre, the funeral's tomorrow? He's like, all right, it's tomorrow. And it was a little cowboy horse that I had, the one with the flat, paper-thin legs. So when they stand up, it looks like someone took a knife to the underside of the horse and carved it out so you could stuff cotton in there or something. And we buried him. I think the horse's name was Rudolph. It was a very old toy, and he did not survive. And we buried him. And he's still buried there in my country, outside in that big meadow, unless someone dug him up. But every time the little girl or the big sister tells the kid something that's based in realism, using her imagination, the mother always says, no, he's not really dead because monsters are not real, right? So he can't be dead. And I understand where she's coming from. She's a mom. She's trying to teach the boy, like, no, be hopeful. But the sister's trying to teach her, hey, there's reality. Instead of being like, listen, yes, honey, death is a real thing. You know, your sister was just playing with you. Your toy's not really dead. She used every opportunity to be like, no, that's not really what they were. And she's sheltering him to the point where she is making him into someone who cannot bear to withstand what reality really is. Anyway, back in the little town, the drunk guy is walking from his stupor. He's like, hey, what's up, guy? What's wrong with everybody? And everyone looks really mad. And the sheriff comes out with flames in his eyes.
It got late, and I didn't...
You got kids? You nail the window shut. You nail the motherfucking window shut.
Oh, dear. The way he beats Frank makes me remember how, you know, my mom. Let's be honest. From my country, people are beating you like, I told you not to do that. Like, it just brought back so many memories. Sheriff pushes Frank in there, and Frank does not want to deal with the reality that is before him. It's a gruesome sight. His wife and kid are lying on the ground, and their insides are obliterated. Like something carved them out with a large spoon and took a huge bite and left the rest of them there. You barely can see any of their rib cage, their whole front chest cavity, face, neck. I mean, the whole thing just looked like someone took a vacuum cleaner with serrated teeth and just said, you know what? I'm gonna take this so I can stuff my blanket with it and leave the legs and arms. And they didn't even leave much of the legs and arms too. They kind of, like a shish kebab, just held the legs, used whatever it used for its teeth, and scooped the meat off and left the bones. It was gruesome. It was gruesome. They show the kid, they show the wife. The sheriff seems more upset about them dying than the father does. And maybe he's dealing with his own way because he's still getting over that drunk thing, but it made me very upset as well. My thing is, though, if this is a rule, if the sheriff said that this is a rule, that you nail the window shut if you have kids, why didn't the wife know that? Like, that seemed to be an unspoken rule. He said, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Everybody in the town knows this. If you have kids, you nail the window shut. It's been 96 days since an incident, from what we saw in the first part of the show. And for 96 days, the mother didn't have it in her mind either to nail the window shut, my guy. I mean, the father's getting all the blame now because, you know, he's the only one left. But the mother is just as much to blame, if not more. She stays home more than the father does. She couldn't take up a nail and a fucking hammer? Really, bro? She's just as much responsible for that kid dying as he is. As a matter of fact, I would even beg to say that she's more so responsible because she was at home all this time. Like, everyone blames the dad, though. Both parents are responsible. Every other parent did what they were supposed to do, except those two idiots. Sheriff is so mad, he almost pops this guy.
Lock him up. You hear me? Lock him up.
Damn, Michael, your acting is so much better than it was. What? He tells the pastor, or whoever this guy is, they're all yours. And Sheriff also sees the rune on the floor. Now, we're supposed to think that maybe because the rune fell off or something, that's what caused this to happen. Who knows? The family in the RV stops at a road where a tree has fallen in the middle of the road. They find it pretty weird. Then a weird animatronic / CG crow lands on the tree, and then another, and then they start to realize something creepy's going on. Like I'm watching Birdemic over here. Back at the town, we meet the sheriff's son. They're obviously not speaking. He's like the hot guy of the town who hates his father for some reason, probably has something to do with his mom. And the only reason he's there is to tell him, look, son, we lost another. They are very strained, but he says, look, the funeral's happening. You can come if you want, whatever. And this is the part I hate, the part I was talking about, because not long after we get a dynamic of the mother and the daughter and why it's so annoying. Like the daughter is annoying too, but both of them are stupid. They need to meld together and give this kid a little bit of stability and the ability to think critically. Because, you know, you never know when you might need it. But maybe they're setting up for something later. So their RV actually rolls through this town. Unbeknownst to them, there's a lot of creepy happenings here. I can't stand this girl. If a horse was a person and it had been kept in a stable for a very long time and it's very angry, I don't even know. She looks like a grown-ass 40-year-old woman playing the role of a 15-year-old girl. It's just very uncanny. And I don't know, maybe there's a reason why they do this like that, because she is the town crazy person. While Sheriff and the townspeople are having the funeral, they are very shocked to see an RV roll by, and they don't look very happy. Sheriff preps them and says he should do the talking, so this is something they've dealt with before. Sheriff goes to deal with it. Bill Murray / Paul Rudd tries to talk to the people, and everyone ignores him.
We were,
Well, they seem like a cheery group.
When the father from the RV asks, hey, we missed your exit. Is there a way out of here? You know, whatever. You could tell the sheriff wants to say something, but whatever is going on in this town, he doesn't want to tell him because, honestly, the guy probably wouldn't believe him. Apparently, in time, Bill Murray / Paul Rudd will find out. So he tells him, yeah, the highway's right up there, which is probably what someone had ended up telling all those people. So here's what I'm talking about with the crow thing, right? The sister says, hey, you know what those crows are called when they're all gathered? A murder of crows.
Got in a group like that? It's called a murder.
What? No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's called a murder of crows.
Then she stretches it by saying they're gonna crawl under your sheet and peck out your eyes. Kid needs to learn. He needs to learn to be a little more thick-skinned, though. If he was hanging around a group of other kids his age, they would do the same shit. Then the mother comes in with her dumbass.
Honey, you know what? I don't think those were even crows. They look like...
You see the way the dad looked at her? The way he looked at her, he was like, bitch, you doing too much. Shut your mouth. You don't need to do that. Just stop. Just stop. Why you always gotta do the most?
They look like ravens to me. And you know what a group of ravens are called? An unkindness. An unkindness of ravens. That doesn't sound that bad, huh?
Yes it does. Yes it does. An unkindness? You know what the word unkindness means?
unkindness.
Inconsiderate and harsh behavior. Cruelty, spite, madness. Instead of telling the kid, hey, they probably were crows, they could have been ravens, but because they're called a murder of crows doesn't mean they murdered anyone. They just call them that because they look scary. See, a little bit of realism while also not scaring the kid half to death. Jesus Christ, the mother's annoying. So now here comes the thrill. They did not turn and they are now passing the same town and have been stuck on the same road, but it looped them back here magically. Oh dear me. Just like the creepypasta that I had read, which I can't even give credit to the creepypasta because there was a movie a very long time ago where these people were stuck on a highway and just wouldn't come off. And the whole movie takes place in that car. And apparently it turns out they were dead or something. I don't remember. They keep on focusing on this creepy girl. They have to make it obvious that this is her brother because you can imagine if people are all stuck in a small town like this, pickings are slim. So they have to let the audience know, no, this is just her brother, guys. Like, that would be off the table. I'm just saying, like, in small population civilizations, if they can't leave which we're now realizing, how do you think we all got here? Now they really start panicking because they're like, this doesn't make any sense. I didn't turn everywhere. Every one of us are confused. And the wife is trying to make sense. She's like, you must have turned. And the guy's like, where would I have turned? They stay on the road again, and once again, they go back past the same area.
You drove out this way. How did we get back here?
No.
She's a really bad actress, Jesus Christ. I don't know what else she's done, but she doesn't seem like she has a lot of experience. Anyways, they turn around and try reversing, and at this point in time, the townspeople are all like, first time? Seeing how they drive more panicked as time goes on, they're all just watching it happen, and it's so sad because they obviously have all gone through this already. Unfortunately, on the way back, they almost get into a collision with another car, the RV overturns, and the family is stuck out here. Ethan is still alive, but he has something sticking out of his leg. The sister hurt her back, but maybe she can walk, maybe she can't. The mother's not responding. The guy comes out of the SUV and vomits. Where he came from, who knows? While Sheriff is laying down a speed trap because he knows that the RV is going to come back around here, and he doesn't want the RV barreling through the town, causing an accident, hurting the few people that are there, and it's going to get dark soon, which is why they have a curfew for those things. The guy who had caused the accidents comes barreling down the road saying there was a really bad accident. He's taken to the local clinic. Another guy who is honestly very funny, and he's another one that kind of makes the show because he's just so hilarious. He comes out from the back seat.
Anything hurt?
What happened?
You in a car accident. You okay?
You have an amazing face.
Hey.
He does this with everyone. The sheriff spends the whole time trying to get the family out the RV and asks everyone to recruit his son for help, who reluctantly does so. Oh, they do have a working vehicle.
Can you squeeze my fingers? Squeeze them harder. Great. Can you move your toes?
Freaking molester. I don't know why he reminds me of Jeff Goldblum.
It's gonna be okay. Drink.
So beautiful.
The fuck? Back at the clinic, we see Creepy Girl, who ends up killing this poor guy in his bed. Maybe to save him from the torture, or maybe because she's losing her marbles. Back at the RV, they're fighting against time. Sheriff tells his son and the others to take the wife and the daughter away, while Jim, the EMT, and Sheriff stay in the RV. As it's getting darker, he realizes this is the reality. They're gonna have to stay here and just hope that the monsters don't get them. Meanwhile, they try to work on carefully removing the table leg from Ethan's leg, because if they don't do it right, the kid can bleed out and die. This really isn't something they should rush. So he tells them he's just making the RV safe. Of course, the father's like, the hell are you doing? You people are weird. The rest of the town people who were coming back forgot to take up the strip, and possibly one of the only vehicles they have working has now flat tires, and it is very annoying. I would be so livid as well. So now they have to get out on foot to go to the nearest house.
Everything's gonna be just fine.
Shit. Hold his neck. Great.
Ethan.
Good.
Ethan.
I feel bad for the father, but it's better that he's here instead of the mom, because I have a feeling the mother would have been freaking out. The episode ends with some people coming through in the dark. And we're just hoping at this moment that these things cannot get inside the RV. These things that look like people, but they're not people. And the episode ends there. Cheapest way to do things, just make the monsters people that act like people but not quite. I feel like I've read a book like this for Stephen King as well, but everything's all messed up. Look, they're all the same. I wouldn't be surprised if they took this for an older movie or a creepypasta, because let's be honest, for these Hollywood people, or people who make these shows, the creepypasta and Wattpad areas are a treasure trove for movie and show ideas. I like it so far. I mean, we haven't seen much, but I definitely would want to see more of this. I do like the suspense. I like how they play that out. They don't make the suspense annoying, and I think there is an art to that a lot of people have forgotten how to do, or just never acquired the skill for. This piece that I did is called Dog Fox Sneak Game. It's about a guy or somebody who is walking through the snow, and he keeps turning around and hearing these weird pitter-patters behind him and crunching in the snow. Until it's revealed later that it's been a dog fox or a male fox following him the whole time, who was surprisingly friendly. Maybe had been kept as a pet a long time ago, or he's very tame around the area. After the dog fox looks into his eyes, he just stares at him with a very happy face, makes a weird noise, and goes about his way, like he was just saying hello. The term dog fox does not mean a fox mixed with a dog. It literally just means male fox. While a female fox is called a vixen. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.